Welcome back. So in this video now, the next step will be that I'm going to install the ISE 1 and ISE 2, both of them. So let's go ahead, go click on virtual machines, click on new machines, so click on next. And I will say this one will be the ISE 1, which will be acting as a primary. So I will select the window ESXi7 itself, and I will select the Linux. And the base operating system will, I think it should be Red Hat Linux 8, Enterprise 8. Select that one, click on next. Select the VMs, click on next. Now, 4 CPUs, and select this one as GB, and this one should be 32 GB. And the hard disk will be 300 GB. And currently I do have only one adapter that should be enough, but I will add one more. And the CD DVD, so I'm requesting it to ICE. So click on select, click on next and finish. And again, the same thing, go to edit because I need to change that BIOS also. Go to the one boot option, select the BIOS. So if you select the EUFI, it will not boot. So once that is been selected, so click on save. So now that will give an error. So I will delete that one and I will create a new one. So go to the actions and delete and delete. So click on next. That should be ICE 1. So this one should be ESXi7, Linux, and Red Hat Enterprise 8. Click on next, select the VMs, that's the data store. 32 GB, and this will be 4 CPUs, 300, and the network adapters will be 2, and this one will be the ICE. And one more thing, we'll be going to the booting option and selecting the BIOS, click on next and finish. I will select that one, click on edit again. As I said that it will untick that CD DVD, click on save and power on that one now. And I will take the console in the new tab. So now it should give you an option. Number one, Cisco ISE installation using your keyboard and monitor. So that's what I am doing because we are doing in the virtual machine. So click on one. So click on enter. Now it will load that one. So let's go ahead and install the ISE 2. So I will click on next. And I would say this one should be the ISE 2. And I will select ESXi7 and it should be Linux. And that will be Red Hat Enterprise 8. Click on next. Select the data store, click on next. Now this one should be 4 CPUs. This one should be 32 GB. And this one should be 300 GB of hard disk. So we are going for the lab, so that's why I'm using 300. Otherwise, you have to use the 600. And the CD DVD will be the ICE. VM options, go back to the boot and BIOS, click on next and finish. So now before we turn on this one, so just wait for at least 2 to 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, we are going to turn on the ICE 2. So it's just that what happens sometimes is that if you're booting both the devices together, it might, your ESXi might get corrupted or the hard disk might get corrupted. So to avoid that, sometimes it will be very much latency in this one. So what happens is like ICE 2 is properly installing, but the ICE 1 is taking a very lot of time. So to avoid that issues, so what we are going to do is that we are going to just wait for 2 to 5 minutes. And after that, we are going to start the ICE 2. All right, so now let's go ahead and start the second one. That should be, so I will go to edit and make sure that it has been ticked on, click on save, click on power on, and I will open the new. All right, select the first one and enter. Now it should boot. So now to totally boot this one, so ICE will take at least 40 to 50 minutes. So it's since it's a lab and it's a virtual machine. So I'm hoping that it should take 30 minutes. Maximum should be a 45 minutes. And after that, I will resume the video again. All right. So once the ICE has been loaded up, you will see this login page. So what you have to do is now is that you see that it is asking you to type setup. So type setup. So once you type setup at the bottom, it should ask you for the host name. So I will say ISE1. IP address will be 192.168.1.101, I think. I will go back to my topology. Yep, 101 and 102. So this one is 101. Subnet mask will be 255 or 255.0, and the default gateway will be 192.168.1.1. And it is asking for the IPv6. You select by default, it is selected no. So just please on enter. So domain name I have already created, that is cisco.com. And the primary server, if you remember, that is 192.168.1.100. That is the primary server. And it will ask you, you want to configure the secondary? Yes, you have to say yes. Because the primary server only will resolve my custom domain names. It will not resolve google.com or internet domain names. So say yes and enter that DNS server address, which is going to resolve your internet domain names. And now it is asking you for the territory. So 2 is enough. So if you have 3, then you can allocate, otherwise no. So I don't have anything. So click on enter. NTP server, now this is the main important thing. So I will go to Google and I will select, type in the NTP server Australia. And now you see that it is getting this aupool.ntp.org. So I will select the same thing, au.pool.ntp.org. So I am issuing this one, au.pool.ntp.org domain name to resolve my NTP. It's because to synchronize the time exactly so that the ISE will not give me any problems. So if you have any issues with synchronization of your time, you will face a lot of trouble. So to overcome that one, just make sure that you have access to internet. So that's why if you see my topology, I'm having directly connecting to my internet. That's it. There is no router in between, so that there is no connection problem in between. So that's the reason I have set up my topology in this way, so that whenever the ISE try to communicate with the internet, it shouldn't have any issues with that one. So now once that has been done, so click on enter, and you want to add another NTP, say no, don't need to that one. And now your time zone, my will be Australia/Hobart. So that is my time zone. Enter. SSH service, yes, I want to enable the SSH service because we are going to take the SSH service, CLI. And the username is by default admin. So yes, say enter. And the password, I will say mois123 hash. Enter, and mois123 hash. So by default, the CLI password and the web GUI password will be the same. So now it is now bringing up the interface. So if everything goes fine, everything is if the ISE is able to resolve cisco.com and ISE is able to resolve au.pool.ntp.org and able to synchronize the time, then it should start loading up again. You see that it is now pinging the gateway, pinging the primary server. That should also be successful. And it is now testing the hard disk. And after that, it will test the NTP server. So now NTP server, most important. Now you see that it is giving me warning that the hard disk test failed. So it can be used in the lab, but it cannot be used in the production. So that's what it is saying you. You see that if everything goes fine, it will give you this one. Do not use Control+C from this point on. So that means everything has been successful. So let's go to ISE2 now. So I will say setup, and I will say ISE2. And I will give the IP address 192.168.1.102, the subnet mask 255.255.0, and the gateway will be 192.168.1.1. I don't want to configure IPv6. Domain name will be cisco.com, and the primary address will be 192.168.1.100. And secondary, yes, I want to give the secondary, that will be 192.168.1.1. And the territory, I don't want to give the au.pool pool.ntp.org. Just want to make sure that is the NTP server and click on enter. Don't want to add the NTP. Time zone will be Australia/Hobart. And the SSS service, yes, I want to enable. And the user will be admin. The password will be mois123 hash with capital M. And now it's going to do the same thing. Now again, I'm installing in the VMware so that it's gonna be not, it doesn't give me any issues. So if you want to run it under your KVN emulators that has EvenG or GNS3, still you can run that ISE in that one. But the preferred one is the ESXi or the VMware for the virtual machines. All right, so this is also done and this is also done. Now we have to wait again until it comes up. So before it took 30 minutes and after that it asked me for the configuration. And after this one, again, it will take another 30 minutes to totally boots up. So I will be back once I get the login details over there. All right, so after 30 minutes, now you can see that it is asking me for login now for the ICE one. So I will log in with the admin and the password will be mois123 hash and enter. So I'll go to the ICE2 and ICE2 also got this one. So I will say admin and mois123 hash. And if the login is successful, you should see that failed to log in 0 times. Now, first thing what you have to check is the show application status ICE. So this is the command to check whether the service is running or not, application server. So next, show application status ICE. So currently ICE has been installed. Everything has been done and it has also rebooted. But we have to make sure that it has a turn on whether the application server is running or not. So now you can see here over there. So these are the different services over here which are not running over here. They are still not running. So now these are the services which are disabled. So which you can enable later on. And still these are the services which are still not running. And again, these are the services which you can enable later on. Right? So main thing what we are looking for here is the application server. So you have to make sure that this is running. So once you see that this is running, then you can access the web GUI. So if this one is not running, you cannot access the web GUI. And the another thing is that you have to make sure that the ICE index in engine. So if this one is also not running, then whenever you do the authentication, it will fail. Now, the main reason for failing this one will be that if there is no reverse DNS configure. We configured the DNS, but we did not configure the reverse DNS. So what it will do, for example, the IP address is 192.168.1.101. So in the reverse DNS, it will look for this particular subnet. If it is able to resolve, then ICE index in engine will be running. If this one is not running, then we are not able to do the authentication, authorization, and the policies will not be configured. So to resolve that one, what I will go ahead now and I will go to my PC and I will go to my tools and I will go to my DNS. And in the DNS, click on this Windows, right click, and you see that these are all of them are, one is the forward lookup zone where you will create your domain names. And this one is a reverse lookup zone. So right click on that one, new zone, and click on next. This one will be the primary zone. Click on next. To all DNS server running on domain, click on next. IPv4 and type in the network address 192.168.1. That's it. And click on next, next, and finish. That's all. Now this should be in place. Otherwise, the ISE service indexing engine will not run. So that's very important to run. Next thing is that if I come back here, you see that I don't have anything in the forward lookup zone. If I go to my cisco.com, I have only my domain controller. That's it. I will right click on that one and I will create a new domain name that will be ISE1, and that will going to resolve 192.168.1.101. So instead of typing the IP address, now if I type the https is1.cisco.com, it should be able to resolve that one, my domain controller. Okay. So host has been added. So next add the ISE2. Here I will type in 192.168.1.102 and add host. Okay, okay, done. So now if I come back to my command prompt, if I say ping is1.sysable.com, that should be able to ping. And the same thing with ping is2.sysable.com, it should be able to ping. So now that is been resolved. Now, whenever it is starting, so all the services should be running. So if I type in the command once more, so basically when you are installing the 30 minutes, first 30 to 40 minutes will be taking to boot up, then you will configure the IP address and all those things. And after that, again, next 40 minutes will be. So altogether almost 40, 40, 80, you can say 1.5 an hour, depending upon your resources. So at least 1 hour to 1.5 an hour, that is the time that will be required to install the ISE completely. Okay, now you see that here it says that database listener is running, database server is running, but not the application server. So you will see the similar output over here. And now you see that some of them are running and some of them are still not running. So you have to wait until you see that all of them are running over here. These two are running, that's all good now. So you see that API is still initializing. So again, after a while, you will see that application server will be initializing. And after that, it will take time. I don't know how much time. I'm expecting at least 15 minutes of time to boot up this one completely and more. So altogether, you have to plan accordingly. It will take at least 1.5 an hour to install the ISE. So now I'm using the ISE version 3.1. I forgot to tell that one. ISE version 3.1. And the next thing is that the images. So to download the images, so you just go to the Google now. Until that has been booted, I will show you. So go to Cisco Software Central and click on this website, and you will go to download and upgrades and click on access download. Or the direct thing will be Cisco Software Download, and it will take you to the same page. So this is the page, and this is the same page. So both of them will take you to the same page. Now you will log in first. So for that one, you have to create an account. So click on this login page and you see that create a new account. So create a new account. After creating a new account, then you will click on browse all. And after that, on the left hand side, you will go to the security. And in between, you will go to network visibility and segmentation. And here you will see the Cisco Identity Service Engine. And here you will see the software, Identity Service Engine software. So once you click, you see that 3.1.0, that is the recommended one. So you can download this one. Now, what image you have to download is that this, so you see that this one is the large one. So for our topology, you do require the small one. We don't require the large one. So, but there will be one ISO image and the OVA image If you like to download the OVA, you can also download that one. You see that Cisco ISE software version 3.1 full installation. ISO while can be used for installing ISE on this appliance. So that means this ISO image can be used to install on the appliance as well as VM installation on VMware. So this is the one which you required for the ESXi VMware or for the EVNG also and the GNS3. Still, you can use this ISO image, so which is of almost 11 GB. There should be another one with the OVA file. You see that ISE 3.1 OVA file, virtual SNS, and this is for the large environment. So you have to look for the small one. So this one is a patch. So you should find somewhere the small one over here. You see that OVA file, 600 GB small one, compatible with ESXi 6.7 or data. So currently I use the ISO image, so that's why I do not require any compatibility. But if you are using the OVA, then you have to make sure that the compatibility, your ESXi is greater than 6.7 or 6.7 grid. All right, so that's how you can download the image. And until this one is running, the other thing what I can do is that I can install the router. So I can go ahead and install the router. For that one, I will go to Microtrix, software download, and I will click on the software directly. Now it's a very small image, so it depends upon you which image you want to download. Do you want to download the ISO or the OVA file? It's up to you. So now you see that for this virtual environment, so I will click on download page. So it will take me to the download page, and now here you see that there are the different packages. Now, if I want the ISO image, you should see something called as a router version. This is a version 7.1, and I should see CD image, installing image. So you can download this one, right? And also, I think you can have the OVA also. So I will go to cloud hosted one. Yep. In the cloud hosted one, you can see that it's an OVA file, which you can download. And there is a raw disk image. This is the one you have to download. So go to cloud hostage one, and this is the one. So these both of them you can download. So again, this one is the version 6.8. So you have to go with the latest one always. So I've already downloaded that one. So what I will do, I will go back to my ICE and I will click on virtual machines, click on which one. I will go with the OVA file. So click on next and it will ask you to select. So I will click on that one and I will go to the software and I should see Microtrix, and here you see that 7.6 OVA file. So click on OK. And for this one, I will give the name as MKR. Click on next, select the VM, click on next, and don't start that one. So click on next and finish. So it will install that one. It's a very small image, router image, so it will take just seconds to use. So click on that one and click on edit. So by default, it is running on 160 MB. So make it as a 256 MB. Hard disk, make it as 1 GB. And you see that the type is thin provision. That should be fine. And network adapters, I do require 1, 2, 3. So I will assign it 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 network adapters. That's it. Nothing else to do now. Click on save. So once that is been done, so I can go ahead and power on that one and I will take the console. So because IC will take a lot of time, you see that still the application server is running, initializing. So it will take a lot of time. Until then, we can install this router. Again, still is initializing. I will check with the ISE too. So just give it a 2 minutes time and it should come up with the CLI. And after that, we will configure that one. So for this one, you see that it's given 99, but I have already used 99 for the ESXi, so I will take it 98 over here. So instead of 99, I will take 98 over here. If I come back here, you see that MikroTik's login. So login will be admin and no password for the first time. And I don't want to see the license, so say no. And it will ask you for the password. That should be mois123 hash and mois123 hash. And now by default, it should take automatically the address DHCP, but I will configure that one. So first I will say that system, forgot the command, system identity set name equal to mkr. Next, you see that I have changed the name. System interface. So just give me a minute, I will get those commands. All right, so for assigning the IP address, it will be IP address at address will be 192.168.1.98/24. Interface will be Ethernet 1. That's it. So these are the two commands which you just need to assign. And after that, what we are going to do, we are going to configure this router via GUI. So what I will come back here and I will type in 192.168.1.98 and I should be able to get the GUI access of that one. So type in the password, that is mois123 hash, and enter. Now, by default, it is going to show you the router details over here. So click on web fib over here. And now if I go to IP, and within that IP, if I go to addresses and you see that D means dynamically allocated, that is 14. So I will click on minus so that it is going to have that static IP address here. And if I go to IP routes and you see that by default, it got the dynamically. So I will delete that one too. So I will do it so everything manually so that it will be easy for us. So the next thing is that I want to configure the Ethernet 2 that should be 10.0.0.254. So I will go to the router. So we do not require the CLI anymore now. So I will go to the router, I will go to IP address and I will click on add new. And here I will type it 10.0.0.254/24. And this will be assigned to Ethernet 2, which will be the internal network connected to switch. This is optional. So click on apply and OK. You see that? I got that one. Click on add new. That is the third one. That will be Ethernet 3 20.0.0. So here I will say that 20.0.0.254/24, which is going for Ethernet 3 connected to server 1. And click on apply. OK. And now let's go to the routes now. And I want to assign the default route. Going to destination will be 0/0/0/0 any subnet. Gateway will be 192.168.1.1. And routing table, you should make sure that it is main. So click on apply and OK. And now once the configuration is done, so if I go to my tools now, I should be able to ping, and I will say that ping, and I want to ping 8.8.8, which is, and I'm going to select the interface Ethernet 1 and click on start. You see that I'm getting the reply. That's fine. Now, the only problem here, it will be that whenever the traffic coming from the internal, if they want to go to the internet, I need to configure the NAT over here. So until unless I create the NAT over here, I'm not able to reach from the internal. So let's configure the NAT now. So if I go to IP, within that IP, I do have firewall, go to the NAT and click on add new, click on source, just keep it default. Source address can be anything. Destination can be anything, or you can just remove everything. Just select the source net, and another thing you have to select is that the action should be masquerade. So these are the two things you have to do: source net, and this should be masquerade, and that should be apply and okay, and that's it. So now my router is being configured, and my router is able to send the traffic from inside to the outside by doing the netting. So I will just click on this option over here, and it should log off. So router is also configured, and everything is in place now. The next thing is that now I'm just waiting for the ISE application server to come up. You can see that still it is initializing over here. So once that has been up, once I get the GUI access, that's what we have configured for the, that means we have completed our installation of the Cisco ISE. So I would just give it another 10-15 minutes of time, and I will resume the video. All right, so my application server is now running. So if I go back to my ISE2, ISE2 is still initializing. So let me check once again. But ISE1 is running. So what I can do, I can go back to my domain controller. I'll close this one, and I will, before I open the Internet Explorer, I will go to the local server, and I will just turn off the enhanced security. And now I can open the Internet Explorer. And here I can now type in https ice1.sysable.com and continue with this website. And now I can see the login page of the Cisco ISE1. And now I think the Internet Explorer might not be supported the browser. So what I will do, I will just download the, first I will go to Google. Then I will search for the Firefox. See that it's not showing me the login page. So download the Firefox. And click on run. Still. So there is a browser compatibility issue here. So I will just download that Mozilla Firefox. And if I come back here, ISE2 is also now running. And now main thing is that I was said you that I need to look for the index engine. So this is the one and this is the one. So currently both of them are running. That's good. So let me confirm on the ISE2. Again, on the ISE2, both of them are running. That's fantastic. So I'm just waiting for the browser. So once the browser is being installed, then I can get the access of the web GUI. So once I get the login page, that should be done with the installation of the Cisco ISE. And now one more thing you have to be careful with respect to the ISE is that you are not able to take a snapshot. So from Cisco 3.0, you're not able to take the snapshot because on the virtual machine, people usually take the snapshot. So on 3.0 and later versions, snapshot is not supported. And you also cannot pause the machine. So pausing is not also an alternative option. So what you have to do is that you have to shut down completely the ISE. So whenever you're not using the ISE, just shut down the ISE and start the ISE again. So within 15 minutes, it will be startup. But if you take a snapshot or do a pause, hard disk will be corrupted and you cannot restore the ISE on the VM. So it will be a very much problematic to restore the ISE on virtual machines. So be careful with that one. Do not take snapshots or do not pause the machine. So now I will just skip this step and skip, close this one, and I would go to https is1.cisco.com, click on advanced and accept. You see that now I can see the login page. So similarly for that one, https is2.cisco.com and going to advanced and accept the risk. And you see that I got the login page. So this was the installation of Cisco ISE. I hope this was informative for you, and thank you.